We know now as a party. And let me assure you, we are not going to wait till elections about that. Brown Mogotsi, your favorite person. Let me explain Brown Mogotsi. Mogotsi was a member of the ANC. He did not occupy any significant role in the African National ANC, except being a member whose membership expired. If it was not because of this process, we wouldn't have known about that character. Let us be honest with you. But Mogotsi is not alone. There are many such characters who have infiltrated the ANC.
You must have watched the video of ANC Secretary General Mbalula speaking, that moment when he dismissed Brown Mogotsi as just an ordinary member whose ANC membership had apparently expired. The clip went viral, and in typical South African fashion, it triggered a wave of laughter, disbelief, and confusion. Because, once again, Mbalula, or as many affectionately call him, Mr. Fix-It, had found himself at the center of another political storm that mixes humor, spin, and strategic damage control. But beyond the soundbite, there's a deeper story here. Who exactly is Brown Mogotsi? And why was Mbalula so quick to distance the ANC from him? To understand that, we have to look at the ongoing crisis within the ANC structures, where loyalty, factionalism, and legitimacy are in constant tension. According to Mbalula, Brown Mogotsi was not an active or recognized ANC figure. He was simply, in his words, an ordinary member, someone who once had a membership card but whose official record had long expired. To Mbalula, this clarification was meant to draw a clear line. The ANC, he suggested, cannot be held accountable for every individual who once wore its colors. Yet, to many South Africans watching that press conference, it didn't quite sit right. You see, whenever the ANC distances itself from someone, it usually means one of two things. Either that person has embarrassed the organization publicly, or they are part of an internal power battle that the leadership wants to quietly suppress. And in the case of Brown Mogotsi, whispers in political corridors suggest that he had recently been making statements or moves that irritated the higher-ups. Some insiders claim he was positioning himself as a voice of truth inside the party, calling out corruption and mismanagement. Others believe he was simply a frustrated former member who overstayed his political relevance. But whatever the truth, the speed with which Mbalula addressed his name raises eyebrows. The ANC rarely comments on ordinary members unless there's real political risk involved. So, for Mbalula to take time out of his already chaotic schedule to respond to a single name, it means the matter was more serious than he wanted to admit. Now, this situation also reveals something else: the ANC's ongoing identity crisis. Over the past decade, the ruling party has been battling to distinguish between its loyal members, its disillusioned veterans, and the growing number of opportunists who use its name for personal gain. It's a messy balancing act. Because while the ANC remains South Africa's oldest liberation movement, it's also become a deeply factional organization, where not everyone wearing the green, gold, and black is necessarily pulling in the same direction. Mbalula himself has been trying to clean up the ANC's image since taking over as Secretary General. But that job, frankly, is like trying to mop up the ocean with a sponge. Every week, a new scandal, a new expulsion, or a new internal dispute dominates the headlines. From the fallout of the MK party's rise under Jacob Zuma to the tensions within the Government of National Unity, the ANC has been in constant defensive mode. So, in that context, calling Brown Mogotsi just an ordinary member sounds more like an attempt to contain the flames before they spread. Of course, Mbalula being Mbalula, he didn't stop there. His tone during the briefing was confident, almost theatrical. It's his trademark style, a blend of political humor and firm messaging. Some South Africans laughed at how casually he dismissed Mogotsi's relevance, while others criticized him for being condescending. After all, how does a party that claims to represent millions of ordinary members turn around and mock one for being, well, ordinary? This moment perfectly captures the strange political theater of today's South Africa. The ANC, once rooted in grassroots activism and people's power, now sometimes appears detached from the very people it was meant to empower. When an ordinary member is discredited publicly, it sends a message that only those with influence or alignment to certain factions are treated with dignity. That's a dangerous perception, especially heading into local elections where every vote and every community activist matters. Let's not forget, the ANC's decline in electoral support is partly because it has lost touch with its base. Ordinary members, the foot soldiers who used to campaign tirelessly in villages and townships, now feel ignored. They watch as leaders squabble on national TV, defend corruption scandals, and then talk about a renewal while the streets remain full of potholes. So, when Mbalula says someone's membership expired, South Africans can't help but wonder, is that a metaphor for the party itself? Has the ANC's moral membership also expired? Humor aside, there's a serious undertone to all of this. Brown Mogotsi may not be a household name, but his story taps into a broader narrative of political alienation. Across the country, many former ANC members are drifting toward new movements, the EFF, the MK Party, or independent civic platforms. They're frustrated, not because they hate the ANC's ideals, but because they feel the leadership has forgotten what those ideals meant. And when the party publicly disowns someone, it only deepens that divide. Still, credit must be given where it's due. Mbalula is one of the few ANC leaders who never dodges the microphone. Whether it's a scandal, a social media troll, or a tricky question from a journalist, he faces it head-on, sometimes with charm, other times with sheer audacity. That's what makes him one of the most polarizing figures in South African politics today. Some see him as a straight-talking reformer. Others think he's a comedian trapped in a political suit. But either way, when he speaks, people listen, and that's no small thing in a party struggling to keep public attention. So, what happens next? Will Brown Mogotsi respond? Will the ANC issue a formal statement? Probably not. In the fast-moving world of South African politics, yesterday's scandal is tomorrow's meme. But the bigger picture remains. The ANC's handling of internal dissent is being watched closely, not just by opposition parties, but by its own supporters who are wondering whether loyalty still counts for anything. At the end of the day, this isn't just about one ordinary member. It's about how the ANC defines belonging, discipline, and identity in an era when its power is no longer guaranteed. The old days of automatic loyalty are gone. The new political landscape is ruthless, and if the party keeps alienating its grassroots, it might soon find that the ordinary members it mocks are the very ones who hold the key to its survival. So, next time you hear Mbalula say someone's membership has expired, take it as more than a bureaucratic update. It's a snapshot of where the ANC stands today, caught between its liberation legacy and the harsh reality of modern politics. If you found this breakdown insightful, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Mbalula was right to downplay Brown Mogotsi's role, or was this another example of the ANC's growing arrogance? Let's talk about it below. See you next time.